Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and once again welcome back to the Nordschleife challenge. Now we've had a few cars out already. We've had a track day vehicle in the KTM, we've had a hot hatch, we've had a couple of hot hatches actually. We've had the Alfa Romeo Mito, I suppose that's a super mini really, the Fiat 500 Abarth, again a super mini, and I suppose the Audi S1, bit more like a hatchback but still well within the super mini range. We've had a saloon car in the form of the BMW M3 E30, which was absolutely fantastic, though the Audi did beat it by 2/100ths of a second last week. If you have not seen that video, do go watch that video. It was rather interesting, although I've just told you what's happened, so sorry. This time, and I think this was the request, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think the request was for a Porsche Macan Turbo, so I'm going to pick a Porsche Macan Turbo. As usual, I'll be doing a couple of Patreon practice laps, so if you want to support me there, if you really enjoy these videos and can afford to do so, please do go check out Patreon, link in the description, and support me there, and you'll be able to see some extra videos where I try and figure out what this car is and how it works and how it handles and where I need to do what. But what you are going to see is after the practice laps, you are going to see me doing a couple of fast laps trying to get this car around the Nordschleife as fast as I possibly can and seeing where it ranks on the ratings. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what to expect from this car because I've driven it once and I did quite like the handling, I remember that, but whether that was because I had just got out of a really badly handling car, that is going to be something I'm going to be able to determine today. And also, I'm not generally a fan of the larger SUVs or SUVs in general. This is actually one of the smaller ones alongside the Audi Q5, Range Rover Evoque, those kind of things. But I'm still not a large fan of these, or a big fan of these, should I say. However, with this V6, with 495 brake horsepower, with 400 odd pound-feet of torque, with 7 gears, 165 mph top speed, this should on paper be faster than the M3, but it does weigh almost 2 tons, 1,900 and something kilos, I cannot remember off the top of my head, which is about 4,250 pounds. It is a heavy vehicle, and I suppose we're going to find out whether that sort of mass is going to cause problems for this vehicle. Is it going to be rolly? Is it going to be really understeery? We're going to find out. Make sure you stay tuned and let's get this started. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to wind up our lap. I was going to continue this from the Patreon laps, but decided to restart. So let's get this started. It looks like we're going to have to take away about 20 seconds or so on the first lap to get the idea of what the lap time is. I do have an idea of the lap times, so I roughly know where I'm aiming for this. Although, put your suggestions in the comments box right now. What kind of lap time do you think this car is going to get, and why do you think it's going to get that kind of lap time? Now, I did say in the intro that on paper this car should be faster than... Why has that gone red? This car should be faster than the M3 and the Audi S1. What I will say is that through the corners it is not as engaging, it's not as grippy. The handling is good for an SUV, in fact it's very good for an SUV, but comparing it to a car such as the M3 or the S1, it's not quite there. But what it lacks in handling, what it lacks in grip, it certainly makes up for in power with 395 brake horsepower from a turbocharged V6 engine being fed to all the wheels on the car, and it has good tyre width as well, 19-inch wheels, and you're looking at tyres 235 55 R19s on the front, 255 50 R19s on the rear. Why the tyre wall width is 50 on the rear, I'm not too sure. I would have thought that perhaps you wanted a slightly larger tyre width on the rear if I was being completely honest. So let me consider reducing force feedback gain. That should be doing that automatically, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm going to ignore it anyway. The power delivery is nice and smooth, a little sluggish perhaps in the lower range, but certainly once you're up above 2000 rpm, 2500 rpm, it's very smooth all the way up, and it does keep pulling, which is very nice, all the way up beyond 6000 where it starts tapering off, which you'll notice that I'm tending to shift up just over 6000 is my ideal shift up, and I'm not looking to shift down all too much because there is a healthy chunk of power and a healthy chunk of torque in the range. Understeer is very much a thing in this, and that is to be expected from an SUV really, especially in a corner like this. You really need to slow the car down. It just does not like the change of direction there, nor does it like the change of direction here. Overall though, the car does feel fairly nice. I do have traction control and ABS turned off. In Assetto Corsa, this car only has street tyres, no semi-slicks. I could probably put semi-slicks on it if I wanted to, but the option is not default in Assetto Corsa. In fact, the paint that I've chosen for this, the colour of the car and the wheels, is also not default in Assetto Corsa, so I've gone ahead and created this colour and paint combination. So I've got a metallic sky blue paint, which I think looks fairly nice, with gloss black rims and red calipers, and with a combination of dark grey and medium grey on the interior. And I think all in all it looks nice. I did try white leather on the interior and it looks a bit tacky, to be completely honest, so I'd rather not have that. One of the things about this car is you need to understand that it has limits, grip limits, but when it comes to power, that is where you really gain that time back. I mean, the 0 to 60 on this car I think is somewhere around 4.9 seconds, which is great. Obviously the all-wheel drive is helping it out there. As I mentioned in the intro, top speed of 165-ish miles per hour. Again, nice and fast, which is good for a car like this. It's not as twitchy as the Audi S1, that is, and it's certainly not as nice to drive as the BMW nor the Audi, but it's still fairly good. Everything in this car feels a little bit, the sensations are all a little bit dulled, and I think that's just got to do with the fact that the car is an SUV. It's high up, it's designed to take bumps, to take everything in its stride, not really sort of do this, go around a racetrack, trying to get maximum lap time. Yes, it is a sports car in a way. It's a Porsche. All Porsches are generally somewhat sporty. The Cayenne being the exception. That's just miserable. That is. else on earth happened there? Did I somehow stall the engine? I have no idea. But this car still is, it's an SUV, so it's a little bit wallowy, I suppose is the right term. There is a bit of, there's some body roll, it's not quite as sprightly, it's not quite as agile or alive. It's powerful, but not massively engaging. It's still nice to drive. It's certainly nice to drive, and considering what I know of SUVs, this would be one of the better SUVs. But to compare it, maybe it's unfair to compare it to an M3 or to an Audi S1, you know, to a smaller car. It's probably unfair to do that. But this is an Nordschleife challenge, and we compare everything to everything except the KTM Crossbow, which is just a terrible car. It'd be a terrible car on the road. That's the thing. All of the cars that I'm driving, the M3, the Alpha, the Fiat, the Audi, they would all be decent on the road. They'd all be suitable on the road to some extent. Particularly this one. This one would be fairly good on the road, I would say. Managed to reach 150 miles per hour. I'm just going to tap the brakes there and then get on the brakes a lot harder here to make this turn. Get out of that low range where there's a lack of power, and we did an 851.14. Take away the 20 seconds from that and you can see that we're in the 832 territory. So despite having the lack of grip, this car is looking and on course to beat both the Audi S1 and the BMW M3 by over 10 seconds it looks like. And I think that is very much to do with the sheer speed of this car. Would it beat those cars around Monaco? I think not. It most certainly would not beat them around Monaco, I do not think. But around here, yes, because you have straights like these. And if you look at the speed of the car right now, you're doing about 120 miles per hour already. That's quick. That is genuinely quick for a car like this. Even as of here, look at this. Let's see how fast we get. 120, 125, 130, 140. See, that is where it really gains time, but it loses time through the corners itself. That's not a problem though. This hairpin is another one of those corners that is difficult for this particular car. It's getting the speed down enough to turn the car in. Because it's so heavy, you have to slow the car down more than you think you would. And because of that, and for me, that's something I'm not used to, is doing that. And I'm used to having a later braking on cars like this, or just on cars in general. But in this car, because it's so big, and because it's so, not just so big, just every sensation is just that little bit more dampened, you find yourself having to compensate for that, and that's where I'm getting caught out, at least I feel. But I am trying, as you can see, I want to bring it below the 8 minutes 30. I want to see if that's possible, and it should be a possibility. There's some understeer there. At the moment it's in the 830s. I want it below the 830s. I've got to be careful here though, because as you know, many cars like to do what that just did. It just does not want to turn and then when you struggle with the turning, as soon as you struggle with the turning, the car tends to go towards the grass, and you're in the wall. And similarly here, once again, just ease the car through this. You'd rather lose a little bit of time there than end up in the wall. And it is very easy to end up in the wall there. Believe me, watch the Patreon. Or the Patreon footage, should I say, not just the Patreon. So open up the steering a little bit there. The other thing about the car is it's wide. It's not as wide as a Cayenne, of course. It's shorter than a Cayenne by about 7 inches, I think. 6 inches actually. I think it's 6 inches shorter, or 145. Yeah, 145 mil. It is about 3 inches in terms of height. It's 3 inches lower. So that's 75 mil or so lower. Oh, I could have gone faster there. I could have gone faster. And I think it's very slightly narrower as well. I'm not sure exactly how much narrower. But the car is still a big car. It is still, at the end of the day, a fairly large car. Managed to get more speed through all of this. And let's see if I can get some more speed going through Carousel. See, unlike the S1 or the Audi M3, that it's not all too happy being in there. But at least it can go in there. That's one of the important things as well. It can go in there. You do have to avoid high curbs, because though the car accepts them quite easily, you either ride over them enough to invalidate your lap time, or you have to avoid them because you're going to touch them, and in touching them it's going to push the car out. And because, as I said, the car's so big, and it is, despite the good handling of the car, it is wallowy. It takes time to correct, and it's not as agile or quick to correct. Ooh, that was close. That was on the limit. Slide it out of that corner, why not? Give a show for those people at YouTube Corner. Hello there. Good power out of that. Slightly slower, but still in the 830s here. Just do not go off. A good downshift into third there, just to make sure that we're right at the top of the power range as we come back on the power. Gives us the pull just to drag the car around. Up to fifth. Hit the brakes here. I'm still not comfortable with this corner in this car. I think I can take more out of it, but that's okay. Let's improve on this corner a little. I did a slight amount, but not enough. Let's go around here. So again, just a small smidge of understeer. I think just going a little bit too fast there. Finding the car doesn't have the grip you would expect, or the grip that perhaps I'm used to. It is the grip that I would expect on this car. It's not the grip that I'm used to. And here we go. We're going to lose a little bit of time down the straight. Nope, we're going to gain time down the straight. I stand corrected. 830.8. Can we get any more out of this? It shall be interesting. And again, this is where we are. Come on, accelerate. but just trying to if I'm a little bit smoother on all of this. Oh, is it good? What is it? 8 minutes 30.69. Was that a 693? So there we go. This does go into second place. This does go into second place ahead of the Audi S1, which last week displaced the BMW M3. So there you go. That was interesting, but I'm thinking I am actually considering doing a driver factor on this. So having a second table, is I've got this one table, which is the actual lap time. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a second table like the one that's up on screen right now, but instead of lap times, all it displays is driver, what the driver rating is of the car. So you'll just have a list of what positions the car is in. So for example, I would have the BMW. Currently, I would have the BMW M3 at the top of the list. Then I would have the Audi. Then I would have the KTM. Then I would have it'd be a close one between this and the Fiat 500. Then I would have the Alfa Romeo at the bottom of the list presently. And this was definitely better than the Alfa Romeo to drive, that is for sure. Whoops. Yeah, let's just do some off-roading. That's the thing about this car, I could just do that, and then that, and it's happy. Hey look, there's a corner. Nope, let's just go straight across it. The car just keeps going. It's absolutely fine. Look, there you go. Across that, not a problem. Do this, look at that. Ooh, I want to go up across here. There we go. And I want to go across here. There we go. Okay, I've spun it a little bit because I had my foot on the accelerator, but you get the point. You get the point. You can just drive this car just like that without much of an issue because it's an SUV. It just wants to go off-road. There isn't much of a problem. Hey, look. Off-road we go. Not a problem. Back on. Take the brakes. Across a corner. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, for more of the Nordschleife challenge. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Yes, I did lose a few seconds on this, maybe 3 seconds I think. But I might come back, as I think I mentioned, I might come back and do some of these cars again off camera and just update the times with a better time and see what happens. If you can support me on Patreon, please do consider doing so at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ECGadget LB for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me, and I will see you next time in Assetto Corsa for another episode of the Nordschleife challenge. And I will pick the car next week. Leave your comments letting me know what car you would like, and let's see which car I can do. I'll see you then.